Hey everyone, it's Ryan, and on today's Traction Tip, we'll be talking all about mopping. Oh wait, you didn't bring your mop? Well, that's okay, I'll wait while you grab your mop. Oh wait, you don't want to mop? You don't think it's the most productive use of your time at work? Well, I would tend to agree. You know, in the early days, and I think in the early days of any startup business, you'll find yourself having to do some of these tasks. I know in my early days, I was mopping the floors and taking out the trash. I was paying bills and cutting checks and answering the phones. And I think in the startup phase, that's important. In fact, I think it's important for any leader to be willing to do that. In fact, being willing to do those things will show your humility and also just show your people that you lead that you're willing to get in there and do the work. But at the same time, if you're out of that startup phase, it's probably not the most effective use of your time. You may say, well, Ryan, I would never do that. Well, let's talk about that for a minute. You know, I was working with a new EOS client recently, and the managing director, the integrator, was having some trouble following through on what she said. She couldn't do her rocks, couldn't keep up with the task that she had agreed to do. So in EOS, we use our VTO, our Vision Traction Organizer. We set quarterly goals called rocks. We have a 1-year plan, a 3-year picture, a 10-year picture. So we have a very clear vision of where we're going. She was just having some trouble getting there. So when we dug a little bit deeper, I started asking some questions, and I found out that she spent a lot of her time answering the phone, calling vendors, chasing receivables, things that you wouldn't expect the boss at a business to be doing. And it was pretty clear that, hey, this may be some of the issues, the reason that some of her goals weren't being achieved. And again, you may say, I'd never do that, but let me challenge you. How much time do you spend every day in email? How much time do you spend on social media? Or just simply putting out fires? These are things that probably aren't your unique ability. You know, as a leader, there's a skill set that you have that probably no one else in your organization has. And you'll be as effective as you are focused. And when I'm talking about focusing, I'm talking about focusing on these unique abilities, these things that you do better than anyone else. You know, it was explained to me years ago by one of my friends and mentors very well. He said, Ryan, have you ever heard of Habu? I said, no, I haven't. He said, Habu, it stands for highest and best use. You know, it's an old real estate term that he had applied to leadership, and it was beautiful. In fact, we get together every quarter, and almost every quarter it comes up, and I'm so glad it does because it's something that you just can't be reminded of enough. It's basically how much time are you spending in your highest and best use, in the thing that you are uniquely qualified to do. In EOS, we call it your unique ability. So my question to you would be, how much time are you spending? You may say, I don't really know. So step one, get out your business plan, your VTO, your written goals. Hopefully you have that. If not, give me a call, I can help. Pull that out and look at it, and then grab your calendar. You know, I prefer a written calendar or a paper calendar, but you can do this on your computer as well if you'd like. And for the next couple days, or possibly even the next week, list everything you do during your workday in 15-minute increments. I guarantee you'll be surprised by a few things. Number one, you'll be surprised at how often you task switch, how much you jump from one thing to another. Some people call it multitasking. The problem is people don't multitask well. So you'll be amazed at how much time you spend jumping between tasks and being interrupted. You'll probably be surprised at how much time you spend on email, and you'll probably be surprised, finally, with the least amount of time, with how little time you spend working on your big goals, your big vision. So I would challenge you to do that. And then after you do that, we need to sit down, and I would say start the very next day. If you decide to do this for a week, track your time for a week, and then the very next day, block off 2 hours on your morning calendar and work on your number one biggest goal, your number one goal. Don't work on number 2 or number 3 until number 1 is done. Do that every morning, 2 hours every morning, and slowly you'll build up. And trust me, there'll be distractions. You will want to stop, but your patience and your commitment will be rewarded. Stick to it. Work on number 1 until the number 1 goal is done, then move to number 2. And just remember, you need to be spending more and more time in your Habu, in your highest and best use. Talk to you next time.